Chapter 30. Well, he wasn't robbed, Hamilton announced as he re-entered the cab. Your guys found $191 in his wallet and an airline ticket back to Portland. Oregon? Malone asked automatically. Yeah, Oregon, the handsome ebony policeman confirmed. Father Patrick O'Connor of St. Agnes there, aged 41, according to the ID he was carrying. What else was he carrying? No weapons, no drugs, just the regular stuff a regular priest would have. Frank Malone frowned and shook his head. Why would anyone kill a regular priest? He wondered. And stash the body in a locked cubicle in the toilets, Hamilton added. To buy time by delaying discovery of the corpse, Malone calculated. So, the creep who did this could be miles from here. Maybe, but we still don't have a motive. I don't think this was a planned hit, Malone reasoned. You don't plan to kill somebody in a public toilet. Even the mafia don't work like that anymore. Now Hamilton looked uncomfortable. Yeah, I suppose. Well, you know who sometimes hangs out in public toilets. It might be a sex thing, he said. This could get very messy. It already is, Malone answered. This priest, he wasn't the one we talked to downstairs, was he? No. Hamilton saw the detective's glance swing to the telephone, the instrument on which number 1 called. Yes, I expect to hear from him any minute, Malone said in reply to the unspoken question. He has to maintain the pressure to keep us intimidated. That's a standard tactic in this kind of war and... The anti-terrorist professional didn't finish the sentence. Malone had been about to say, he's good at it. That would have been a serious mistake. He shouldn't utter a word to suggest that he knew anything about number 1. Annoyed that he had almost made such a naive error, Frank Malone avoided Hamilton's eyes by looking back at the phone. It did not ring, but the teletype began to clatter. Annie Green scanned the incoming message for 15 seconds before she gestured to Malone to come to the machine. He read the succinct message from the Coast Guard airbase swiftly. They had found the transmitter. Some lieutenant named Saldana was at a phone booth a few blocks from the building. Malone recognized the address where the Coast Guard officer was waiting. It was about 6.5 miles from Kennedy. Now Malone thought about the assault, and Willi Staub. The son of a bitch would have the building entrances rigged with alarms. There would be heavily armed terrorists inside to protect the jammer for as long as possible before they fled. It was all in Venom's file. A wily professional, he always planned some clever escape route so that his fighters could slip away to do battle another day. But those defending the building didn't matter. Time, not their machine guns, was Willi Staub's deadliest weapon now. Minutes, not bullets, would determine whether the legion of people on TWA-22 Heavy and the other airliners lived or perished. Anything like a normal police siege would destroy them as well as the terrorists. Recognizing this, Frank Malone chose his strategy. It was a gamble, but the others were sure to bring disaster. Let's go downstairs, he said to Hamilton. But what if number 1 phones, Frank? Annie Green asked. Tell him his 7 friends will be here very soon and their planes ready, the detective answered. Then he led Hamilton from the cab. Malone didn't ask the question until they strode off the snow-swept bridge into the International Arrivals building. "Is your armored car here?" Hamilton nodded. "Is there some way we can get to it without going through that mob in the lobby downstairs?" The Port Authority police lieutenant nodded again and led him to the service stairway. The armored car was parked by the side of the terminal, just out of sight of those inside. "You found the bastards, didn't you?" Hamilton said. "Some of them." "Well, I'm coming with you." "Go inside and grab the commander of the Emergency Services Unit team," Malone said. "Tell him to load 20 of his men, full assault gear, into vehicles and meet me in the armored car up the service road a bit. I'll lead them from there." "Is that it?" Malone shook his head. "You're not coming," he announced. "They need you here and you know it." Hamilton glared at him, angry because Malone was right. Barely controlling his wrath, he pounded on the armored car's turret. "This is Captain Malone," he told the driver. "He's in command." Then Hamilton hurried back into the building. In a few minutes, the armored car was leading the ESU truck and 3 police cars towards the airport exit. They were almost there when Frank Malone realized what was wrong with Staub's list. There was one name that didn't fit, and there had to be a reason it was on the list. There was something special about that person. Suddenly, the detective realized what this operation was really about, and who had to be behind it, and who had to pay for tonight. No matter what happened in the next hour, Malone thought grimly, that person would pay. It was more than a decision. It was a commitment. Malone leaned forward to tell the driver to speed up now. The man at the wheel looked ahead through the slit in the armor, saw the ice-glazed road and blowing snow, thought about the danger, and obeyed. By the time the armored car reached the highway, it was moving at 50 miles an hour.